a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
YouTubers, if you like what you see, make sure you click subscribe below. Today we're going to be talking about running back rankings for redraft leagues. So if you want to go on www.podcastawards.com and vote for us, we greatly appreciate it. Let's crack it.
Are we done? That was very soft. No warning.
In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
Quentin Nelson, who likes the pancake guys, and I heard he likes the teabag guys, and he got a nickname Earl Grey. Wow, because he likes the pancake and teabag guys.
Well, how much teabag somebody with a helmet on, though? I mean, I would love to see that in a game.
John
it's
Holmes,
gonna be
teabag him, but
yeah. Well, I mean, John Holmes, yeah, that's a different story.
That is a different story. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with the boys Jay Up and James Up.
What's up, guys? Whoop, whoop.
And we are TCP. I am Travis Sutton, in case I didn't mention. Today, like the boys said, we're going to do some running back rankings for redraft season that's upon us. I had an interesting little session with consensus rankings.
Yeah, intense session. We had to hammer it out.
A few of us, usually two of us, were close together, and there's always a dissenting opinion here and there on certain guys. Before we get rocking and rolling, you guys want to talk about anything?
Moving and grooving?
Moving and grooving?
I do not want to talk about, let's save the news.
News? Who talked about news?
New news. New news.
No news is good news.
That's true. We'll save it when we get to that player.
Yeah, I mean, it's redraft season.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about Sean
I see what you
McCoy.
did there.
It's redraft season, and these rankings will definitely help. That, like Jay said before on a previous episode with the quarterback rankings, these to me are the ones that change a lot. The running back, especially the guys that are running back by committee. When the training camps start and all these guys are getting shuffled around, and then one guy becomes all of a sudden the receiving back, this guy's the goal line back, they kind of get their roles labeled. And you'll know more as the season goes along in the preseason and such. So these rankings could change, but we're going to do the top 24 today. Hopefully we get through those. And the top 12-ish are probably pretty solid guys unless injuries happen, correct?
I would say the top 10 for sure.
Okay. Not 11 and 12 though, huh?
Well, no, not necessarily, because a lot of things could happen.
Okay. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about.
Nothing's for sure. So
correct.
So we're going to go over consensus. This is basically, we took our rankings just of the top 24 that we did, and we made a consensus, and so this is how it kind of shook out.
number one,
David Johnson. Travis and I both had him at number one.
I think both of you guys, though, were trying to take David Johnson as like a shock value to be like, yeah, I was the one that took David Johnson, and then both of you ended up doing the same thing.
not for shock value, but because
You're a shock jock.
the welcome to the AM radio station. We're doing Las Vegas live.
Shock jock Travis.
Yeah, that was funny. No, because the number one running back usually doesn't repeat. So
Correct. That's the same
even
reason
though
for me.
I really like Todd Gurley, but I just don't think he's gonna duplicate that. David Johnson, I think, has something to prove. He wants to be a 100 guy, the 100 catch, or no, the 1,000 guy.
Yeah.
1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. He could catch 100 passes. So
Whoa. Okay. All right.
he could. He's one of those
In that
guys
offense,
that
I
could.
think he
I'll
could.
let that slide. Okay. That's wow.
You don't have to let it do anything, bro.
I'll take the under.
He's a guy that could do that.
Is this the bold prediction episode?
I know.
I know, Jesus.
Write that down for your bold prediction because that's bold.
Yeah, for sure. But he's a guy with the talent that could do it. There's only a couple of them.
Okay.
So not shock value for me.
Okay. I had him at 4, so that's and he's still squeezing our top number 1 because both of you guys were shock jocks.
I think it would have been a different story for me if it wasn't, if it was like a lower leg injury or something. It was a wrist injury, and from
Okay.
all accounts, he's back to being healthy. I think he definitely has a shot at getting number
So
one.
redraft comes. Your pick number 3, and the top 2 receivers are gone. You're taking a running back, whatever you're at. No running backs are taken.
Don't tell me what I'm gonna do.
Both of you guys are going to take David Johnson as the number 1 guy off the board. On the clock, ready to go.
Yes, I would take David Johnson over Gurley this year.
Okay.
Not saying that Gurley's terrible, but I would take David Johnson over Gurley. Yes.
Okay. I don't think I could do that. I'm not saying that he can't finish number 1. I just
Well,
don't know.
this is the thing that if you know the running back usually doesn't duplicate being the top running back in fantasy for back-to-back years.
Yeah.
And you're going to the guy you think is going to be the number 1. How can you take Todd Gurley if you pretty much know the odds are he's not going to finish as number one.
But he finished number one like by tenfolds last season. It wasn't like he squeaked over.
When he finished number one before he got hurt.
He could have repeated if he didn't get hurt though, and we're assuming that all these guys are gonna stay healthy. And if Gurley does stay healthy, I mean, everyone has him at what, number 2? I mean, it's not like he's so far behind.
Typically a regression though. You guys don't.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He finished so high that he can regress and still finish as the number 1 because he had so many gigantic weeks of 40 points and 45 points and whatever, and he didn't even play the last week. Like he easily could have gotten another 20 more points easily, and he was far and above the guy that came in second place behind him, and as far as fantasy points go, so he can still take a step back and still finish at number 1.
I don't think anybody's knocking Todd Gurley. All we're saying is that I don't think he's going to finish.
I'm not saying you guys are knocking him. He finished 50 points higher than Le'Veon Bell, and he didn't play a week. So that could have been 75 points you're talking. So you can regress by 75 points and still finish as number 1. Is what I look at that.
That's assuming nobody else has a good year like that
sure.
and goes above. Which somebody's going to go above. Somebody's going to have a good year.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think, I mean, the year that David Johnson did his thing, it was better than what Gurley did last year. So, I think he's primed for it. Yeah, check it. Look it up, bro.
2016?
Yes, he was the number 1 running back in fantasy.
He did. By 20 points, he beat Gurley, but he also played all 16 games. So, okay, yeah, you're right.
Not the margin of points, but what he did there.
Okay, I'm looking at fantasy points. That's all I care about. Stats, secondary when you talk about fantasy points. For me, Todd Gurley was number 1. Like we said, consensus though, he's number 2. So if DJ, again, we're splitting hairs. You have David Johnson, Todd Gurley. Who's number 3 in the consensus list there?
Consensus is Le'Veon Bell. Looks like James was the highest on Le'Veon Bell, and Travis and I both had him at number 3, so it wasn't like there was a huge discrepancy there. He's a guy that they're already talking about. He's got basically 1 week to sign his tender. Is that what it is? And then he has to report for camp. So odds are he's probably not going to report for camp, kind of like he did last year. It worries me slightly, but it doesn't like kill his entire value. So I still think he's a top 3 running back.
It sucks that he's as young as he is, and he's already coming in with that mentality of like, I don't have to go to training camp, I don't have to do this, like I'm just not going to do this, and I'm just going to show up when it matters. It's like, I don't want that in my running back, and that to me is always like risky to take a guy that's not in season, like week 1 form. Like, not saying that he's not doing his own workouts and his own whatever, but like gelling with the team and with just everything, the offense. Like, what if they want to change something on their offense? They have a new offensive coordinator. I mean, like, you have a new offensive coordinator, and you're telling me you might not show up for training camp or preseason. It's scary. It's scary.
The guy that's the offensive coordinator, though, is Fickner, I think is how you say his last name, and he was the quarterback's coach for the last 8 seasons there.
Not saying he wasn't there, but
so
just
I'm sure he has a rapport with them, but yeah, it could be a completely different offense than what Haley ran. And the thing that's it raises some red flags is that I believe, and I think we all believe, that the Steelers tried to run him in the ground last year on his 1-year deal, and he did fine. I mean, he did great. What if this is a year where they try to do the same exact thing because they have him on a 1-year deal, and this happens to be the year he gets hurt,
right? Oh,
because he didn't go to camp or whatever. Like, clearly they're not worried about his health.
No,
I mean, can we all agree on that? Like, the Steelers aren't really worried about.
I don't know. I mean, I think from the perspective of, that's what I would expect any team to kind of do with the running back in that situation, is to work him everything.
I know, but you have viable options, I think, behind him, and James Conner and Samuels.
No, they're nowhere near Le'Veon Bell.
Not
so you got a guy that, if you're not looking in the future of keeping, why do you not run him into the ground?
Well, then why do they keep paying him? Let him go then. Run him into the ground. If you don't want to pay him that much money, then run him into the ground and let him go. Like they did with Matt Forte.
Well, that's kind of what they're doing, but they have to franchise him. So guess what? You got to pay him something. But they're not signing him to that deal to where whatever. So yeah, that's the guy I would, if I was in charge of things, I would be like, yeah, give him everything he can handle.
Yeah.
And if he breaks down, he has some pieces behind him that you can throw in there. They're not going to be the same caliber. Exactly. What Jay said with him not being at camp and holding out and all that kind of stuff is kind of the reason why. I mean, we're talking about one spot here. What, you had him at 2, we had him at 3. It's really not much to talk about.
I'm just saying that is my only concern about him.
Yeah,
is getting to the flow of things and not doing the first 4 weeks where he's just there. Like last season, it's 7 points the first week, 13 points the second week, and then all of a sudden he gets into the flow of things week 3, and it's like 22, 37, 20, 31, 20, and it was just ridiculous after that. But it's like, I don't want to have to, as an owner of him, to sit there and hope that he just comes out of the gate shooting and hits all strides right away, and I have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for him to get back into the game form, you know? That's all. Again, that's why I don't have him number 1. I had him number 2 or 3, but again, we're splitting hairs. So
Top three's top 3.
Number 4.
Number 4 consensus. We have Zeke Elliott from Dallas Cowboys. Travis was definitely the lowest on Zeke.
Like it was that rate. What was he at?
7.
7. Okay, I'm at 3.
It's for me. It's more of PPR and some of the guys in the PPR format that.
And this is all PPR, by the way. Yes.
I like a little bit better. I think Zeke is going to be. He's going to do for you very well. I mean, the offense is kind of running through him, but I don't think that. I think part of the argument I think Jay is what you're going to make is the pass catching core. But I think part of me thinks that might be what Dak needs is guys to spread it around to, not somebody to just kind of feed. And I don't know necessarily that everything's just going to go through Zeke as far as he's going to get that much more because the receiving core is not as.
I feel like Jay's just waiting to say he wants to make a wall bet, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I think he's I don't have a wall bet against who though.
Me.
Zeke Elliott.
But for who?
Oh.
Like for what? Like what wall bet?
Elliott.
I don't know. Let's hear what you got to say. and we'll
Sorry,
find
I
out.
thought you were like chomping. Okay,
No.
go ahead.
The reason I have Zeke so high.
Let him out of his cage.
I
Let him out
have
of his
Zeke
cage.
at number 2 is because the Cowboys receiving core has nothing at all. Especially losing Jason Witten, I think they're going to rely more on Zeke in the running game. He finishes the number 10 running back in PPR leagues with missing 6 games last year. So I think they get back to running the ball and trying to hammer it and clock control, clock management. So I think they're going to involve him a little more in the passing game. They brought in another running back. Basically, Morris is gone. They brought in Bo Scarborough, who isn't a pass-catching back. So really, what do they have there as far as pass catchers?
Rod Smith will be your pass catching back.
Yeah, I mean, but he's not somebody that's going to be like every time third down comes up, he's in the game. He's going to be like just used sporadically. So I think that Zeke is in for a heavy workload, and I think that's what they want to do is control the clock.
Run him into the ground.
I could see him
I think he's
finishing
gonna do
number
it.
1, actually.
No, I don't.
Yeah, because like Jay just said, like they have nothing. No offense, like all the guys they have are just average guys, and then you have this one stud, and they're gonna do to like Le'Veon Bell did last season. They're gonna dump off to him. Like he can catch. Like it's not like he's like Jordan Howard. He can still catch the ball. He's gonna get the goal line. He's gonna get the third down. He's gonna get all those touches. And the only thing that could take away from it is because they might be losing a lot of games because they can't score many points. So I don't know how many touchdowns he's gonna get. Like that might.
Well, their offensive
affect
line
that.
is actually back to being healthy. Last year they had a couple of guys that were out, kind of like in Washington's case, the same thing. Like they were expected to be really good, and they had a couple of key injuries. Now they're back to being 100% healthy. Before camp starts, obviously things happen, but I think that they're going to rely a lot on Zeke. I think there's going to be a lot of dump offs and a lot of handoffs here for Zeke.
Well, I definitely agree that he's going to get the work. I think that increased work too does increase that injury potential, and I also think the offensive line isn't the offensive line from that year DeMarco Murray and everybody went bananas. I think they've shipped off some of their depth that you guys have had at the offensive line. So, like you said, guys do get hurt, and if that does start happening, you could be kind of in the same situation as last year. I think he's a very good running back.
He's only going to be 23 years old at the start of the season. They have last season he had 26 catches, 270 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like Jay said, he missed 6 games. He also had 7 touchdowns and almost rushed for 1,000 yards still. His projection is ridiculous. 350 carries. He's projected to get 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, 42 catches for 450 yards and 2 more touchdowns.
Well, that's what
that's ridiculous. That's number 1. That sounds like it's number 1.
I see him getting around 40 receptions this year, with having 25, 26 last year and then missing the 6 games. I see him getting 40 receptions. If he can produce that and get it to, like the 300-400 yard mark and get a couple of receiving touchdowns, he's right there in the mix. This is the last guy that rounds out my tier 1. It's basically Johnson, Zeke, Elliott, Bell, and Gurley round out my tier 1.
I have one more guy in my tier 1, and that's not the next guy on the list, so I'll hold that thought.
Hold that thought, because number 5 in our consensus comes up with Alvin Kamara. He got a huge boost with the Mark Ingram news about him being suspended for 4 games, and even though it won't be the Alvin Kamara show for the first 4 weeks, he's obviously going to be splitting time with somebody, which we don't really know who.
Pick your horse. Because we have a Show Me Your Committees episode that we may or may not have already done. But we're going to talk about the Saints, and I'm going to hold you guys to the fire and say, hey, pick a guy. Who's going to be the guy? Or is it going to be 2 to 3
I'd
guys?
like to see...
Why don't you put your feet on the fire?
Oh, I will. I'm waiting.
Who is it?
I think it might be
Want
Jonathan
to do a
Williams.
3, 2, 1? Oh, okay.
I think it might be Jonathan Williams, maybe gets first crack at it. I would love to see Boston Scott get in the mix there, but he's a rookie.
What about Trey Edmonds?
Trey Edmonds, another guy. I have Trey Edmonds a little bit behind Jonathan Williams.
I would probably roll with Trey Edmonds.
Me too.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, Edmonds. But yeah, Kamara finished number 3 last season. overall for running backs in the PPR league in our format, and now no Ingram the first 4 weeks. Like, it looks, we've seen his ceiling, correct? He's not going to be higher than number 3.
No, I don't think he's going to be better than last year. I think he's actually ranked in the right spot. I think he finishes right on the top 5.
I think he actually takes a step back, and I only have him at 6, but I think I could, if he falls out of the top 10, I could easily see that.
I don't think it's going to happen
Yeah,
because I think even when Ingram comes back, it'll go back to the same way. But I don't know what kind of shape Ingram's going to be in when he comes back. Is it going to be like he's going to hit the ground running? And all of a sudden getting 15 touches?
I think they have more options at the passing game this year than they did last season because they had Michael Thomas and then what? Like Ted Ginn, and that's it. But now you add Cameron Meredith, who's exactly Willie Snead. No, because he was hurt. He was suspended the entire season. But they get rid of Snead. You had Brandon Coleman. Like, I mean, you bring in Cameron Meredith, which I like that addition, and then you go out and you draft Trey Quinn. And they draft
Traquan Smith.
Was it Traquan Smith?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a young wide receiver core.
Rankings.
Well, I'm just saying. I think a lot of that takes away from Alvin Kamara's touches. That's what I'm getting around to.
I don't think so. I still
think
very
he's
comfortable
heavily
with Kamara
involved.
number 5.
I think he's heavily involved in the passing game as well still.
Number 6.
Well, number 6, Saquon Barkley, the first rookie in our rankings.
Mm-hmm.
This was pretty easy on consensus. We all had him top 10. Looks like
he was in my tier 1. He was my number 5.
It looks like Travis has him the highest.
Number 4.
At number 4.
Where'd you have him?
I had him at number looks like 7.
So why'd you have him so low? Because we had him 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah.
4 and 5. You were the lowest on him.
I'm low because he's a rookie.
Oh, that's it?
That's the only reason.
Were you low on Zeke
Zeke,
Elliott when he
yeah.
came in as a rookie?
I don't remember ranking Zeke Elliott when he was a rookie. To be honest with you, I don't remember where I had him in my rankings.
I'm gonna say no.
Cop out.
Go look at the archives.
Okay, I'll go back and look. So yeah, nothing much to say about Saquon Barkley. I mean, I think that he's going to do very well, and he is now the only other guy there is Jonathan Williams, and let's be honest, I'm not scared about Jonathan Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and I'm not worried about Jonathan Stewart.
He's not going to be the backup. It's going to be Wayne Gallman.
I agree with that as well. So, damn, I mean, he's going to get so many touches that it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, they have a lot of offensive weapons there. He's gonna do really well because you're not going to be able to stop one thing on that team.
Yeah, I think he's in a good situation. Injury is the only thing that'll kind of sidetrack him, I believe.
top 24. Like, I literally think that it could be, I don't know. I just there's a one guy that I'm just very inconsistently, I just don't know where to put him. And that's why I won't own him, because I don't have confidence in
Right.
it.
And the only reason I have him so high at 14, I have him the same as you, Travis, at 14. But the only reason I have him that high is because there's really not anything behind him. Like in Minnesota,
Matt Breida?
he had Latavius Murray and he had obviously Cook ahead of him until he got hurt. But there's not, like, I'm not really worried about Breida taking the job from him or Joe Williams. Like, I'm just not worried about any of those guys.
Yeah, he's gonna get his piece of the pie, and I think that's part of the reason why I have him up there too, because he's gonna get some work, so he's gonna get that opportunity.
So it's just because of the situation.
A little bit, yeah.
Definitely for situation.
I love him as a talent, an athlete. I love McKinnon,
But I like the
their
2 or 3
abilities.
guys going after him. That's a problem.
I do too.
Hit him, Jay.
Let's see. Let's
15.
go with number 15, Joe Mixon. It's a guy that I had in the number 16 spot. You guys were actually a little bit higher than
15.
me on Mixon. He definitely got an upgrade at offensive line this year. Same quarterback. They kind of beefed up the wide receiving core a little bit. They have John Ross coming off of injury, coming back, and they drafted Auden Tate. They still have LaFell there, so that could open up the passing lanes a little bit too. But last year, it was like a question of who's going to come out of this committee. It was Jeremy Hill, it was Gio Bernard, it was Joe Mixon, the rookie, and now it's 100% clear it's Joe Mixon's job, and Gio's going to stay in that third back role. They bring in Mark Walton, but I don't think that's really going to hinder Mixon whatsoever. So this is Mixon's job.
Yeah, I agree. I had him one spot ahead of McKinnon. I had Mixon at 13 on my rankings.
Same with me.
I think you got
one
to see
spot
some
ahead of McKinnon.
flashes of Mixon last year. I think he has that RB1 talent. So just hopefully that offensive line stays healthy. I think they'll be all right. I think he'll be a good play.
And he can catch as well.
Once they get a quarterback to open up the passing game, to actually pass and then open up the running game, I think he'll be a lot better. But I don't know if it's this season he takes a gigantic leap, but I for sure pencil him in the top 20. He's going to be an RB2 for sure.
That's what I think too.
16?
Which kind of leads us to this number guy who surprisingly,
Excuse me.
Jeez. We have to edit that out too.
Nah, leave it.
Jordan
Like the raw
Howard.
footage.
Jordan Howard comes in at number 16, and this is a guy that
I love him.
surprisingly though,
I love him.
surprisingly he finishes what, top 12 the last 2 years, and you don't even realize it.
Right at there. He's always between 10 and 12. Even like week to week. If you go back and you look week to week to week, it's like it's very rare that he wasn't inside the top. He either had a really bad week where he either got hurt or got taken out or whatever. But if he played the entire game, almost every single time, it was right there within that like 5 to like 14 range in the running back. Like, he was always a back end RB1 or a high end RB2,
And that's in a
consistent
PPR
as
league.
and he doesn't catch. So if he did catch just a little bit more, he's right there in the RB1. You can pencil him in. And if he's my RB2 where he's going, then how do you not love that? He's going in the 3rd round right now, 303 in redrafts. So you can get you can get a running back and a receiver, and then come back and get Jordan Howard still.
If I like Howard as well. If John Fox was still there, I would definitely probably have him higher, because it was that opportunity. Like, John Fox doesn't like to mix in a lot of different guys. He doesn't like to mix in rookies.
That's true.
So I think he got fed the rock. Now, is it going to be the same thing with Nagy?
Yes.
I don't know. So it's yet to see. So I dropped him a little bit for this year, because I think there might be a lot of new things happening there with Nagy's offense.
Yeah, we're not 100% sure if he loves him or not either, because if you remember back in the offseason, early offseason, like, he was deleting all of his Chicago Bears stuff off his Instagram and Twitter, and then there was all these reports about how he doesn't fit in Nagy's offense, like they weren't sure how he was going to make it. All this glowing reviews about Tariq Cohen, which obviously we know Cohen's not a guy that's going to run through the tackles, but it was just, I don't know, a lot of weird stuff going on. Like, maybe he will work, but I don't think that Nagy loves him in this offense.
I don't know. I mean, I think he'll be fine. I just don't know if he's going to get as much opportunity as he got last.
Which is why we kind of have him at the consensus number 16, which is not where he's been finishing the last couple of years.
Right.
Moving on to number 17, a guy that I know, actually all 3 of us love. We all have him the same side, basically. Our second rookie, Darius Geis, Washington Redskins.
Yeah. Number 17. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of guys that are there in Washington that they keep taking chances on, and then they use them for 6 games, and they get hurt, and then you never hear from them again, or they eat themselves out of the starting lineup, or whatever it is. With Kelly, and you have Thompson there, and you have Samaje Perine, who they just drafted, and now you bring in Darius Geis, and obviously Geis' pedigree, being drafted as high as he was, is probably going to get a better chance to at least prove himself. But it's scary to me having 4 guys there. Like, this to me is like the Detroit Lions, how they have every single guy has their own role. Like, how much of the piece of the pie is Darius Geis going to get?
To me, Geis is the most talented running back on this whole entire squad, and that's including Chris Thompson. I think Geis
For
blows
sure.
these guys away easily. I think that he was a first-round talent that
And then you
slipped
just
in the
never-
draft
you
because
never-
of the combine.
And you never hear from the other two guys again, or you know. What I
I
mean?
think Rob Kelly's the odd man out. He's not going to make the team. I think P. Ryan will come in just to kind of spell Geis and give him a rest, and then Thompson knows his role. He's going to be the third down guy, and Geis will get some receptions here and there, but easily. Like, don't you agree, Travis?
Yeah, I do, and I think barring injury, the other guys aren't very fantasy relevant as far as P. Ryan or Rob Kelly if he does make the team. I think it's Geis all the way.
Okay, but in a redraft, and just real quick, in a redraft league, he's going at number 310. That means that he's going to be your second running back. All you guys are ready to start the season with Darius Geis, your number 2 running back.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Or if you went receiver, and now you're like, okay, I'm in the third round now, and here's the running backs that are going in the third round: Joe Mixon, Jordan Howard, Darius Geis. To me, that's a big drop off. I'd rather have Mixon. Like if you're talking about your number 1 running back because you went receiver, and now you're stuck and you have to go running back. McKinnon, Mixon, Howard, Geis.
I'll take Mixon and Howard.
Right.
Mixon and Geis.
Over Howard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
For
would
sure.
I would do that order. I would do Mixon and then Geis and then.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I'll do a
think-
wall bet with you guys later.
I think Geis is gonna beast.
I mean, you're a Washington fan, so number 18.
Number 18 actually came in consensus. Rashad Penny. We'll kind of talk about this a little bit because we didn't have him this high in any of our rankings, but just the consensus is what he ended up finishing out at.
Mm-hmm.
I myself have him at number 23, so I had him as a running back too. Anyways, he's kind of in the same spot. He's just a few spots higher.
Yeah, I think we all have him as a back end RB too.
Travis 21, I have him at 22.
Right, so we all have him around the same, but he comes in at that RB2 mark, and from all accounts, it looks like they're trying to make him a 3-down back. I don't know how easily Chris Carson goes away, but
This to me is a wait and see, and I can slot him up like 4 or 5 spots, and I can definitely move him back 4 or 5 spots, depending on what Chris Carson does, honestly,
and what he's doing in camp,
and
right?
blocking and everything. Yeah, how he's fitting into the scheme. So,
Do you feel the same way, Travis? It's kind of like a wait and see, like how camp shakes out.
or is he pencil? Is he in concrete?
I feel like he's in a good spot for me in this area.
Regardless.
I don't know how much I would actually bump him up. Yeah, because Chris Carson is the thing. I think Chris Carson is a decent talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think they're going to be very good up there in Seattle this year. So I don't know. I'm not
And he can
I'm not
catch.
ready to move him up. a
And
lot.
he can catch, so that's
Yeah.
it. In PPR. All right.
All right, so this is our came in tied at number 18 in consensus with Penny was Deion Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was highest on Deion Lewis. I think that him and Henry are not going to eat into their stats. I think this is going to be a pretty good split. And Deion Lewis, even if he gets first crack at getting first and second down and some of the receptions, he's going to get clearly more receptions than Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is a better combination than Murray and Henry.
I think so too.
I do think they will complement each other a lot better. So that Henry probably is a little more relevant than he has been in the last couple of years.
I believe the same thing. I don't think that they're going to eat into each other's stats at all.
Deion Lewis going in the back end of the 5th round in redraft leagues, so he could be possibly your number 3.
I like that.
I do
That's-
too.
that's a good
Flex-
spot
your
for him.
Flex guy.
That's good
For sure.
value. Here's one guy that, moving on to number 20, obviously, is Kenyon Drake. A guy that all 3 of us are kind of
I don't
like
love
iffy
him.
on.
I don't love him. I don't even like him. He's actually going 409 in redraft ADP right now. 409. So he's going ahead of Sony Michel, Mark Ingram, Royce Freeman, Lamar Miller, Deion Lewis. Like he's going ahead of all those guys. And I just don't.
There's a lot of guys like you just named that I would rather have than Kenyon Drake.
Me too. And then you have obviously Frank Gore there. You have Kalen Ballage who they just drafted. I don't know. I don't know why I have him so high. Like I could easily see if you told me you had Kenyon Drake as like your number 34, I'd be like, okay, like it's a little low, but like okay, I can see that. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on Miami's offense whatsoever, and it's just a lot of guys that are there that could take touches away. And Frank Gore just keeps on producing well. And if he comes into training camp and it's that one guy that you can rely on to not fumble and to close games out, he's gonna take touches away from Drake. It might only be 10 touches or so, but that's still 10 less touches than he was getting. Because when Damian Williams did what he did last season in Miami, and then after he got hurt and whatever happened there, then it was just Drake. Like there was no one else to like take anything away from him. Like he got the goal lines, he got the catches, he got everything. Now you bring in Gore and Ballage, and maybe they don't use Ballage right away, but there's still Frank Gore who's been doing it for 10 years, never gets hurt, very consistent. He's gonna take touches away from him.
Agreed.
Okay, move on.
All right, so coming in at number 21 consensus is Mark Ingram. This is a guy that I believe, James, you were the highest on. You had him at number 17. I had him at 18.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the suspension of 4 games, but the talent is there. I think when he comes back after the bye week, which I think they have a bye week early as well. I think it might even be week 5. I don't know. I can't remember, but
I'm not sure what their bye week was. But the one thing I want to say about Ingram is that I think that once he does come back,
so bye week is week 6, Travis said. So he comes back week 5, and then he gets a rest right after that. after the month rest.
unless he's in Peyton's doghouse and then maybe gets week 5 as a rest.
And you know what? That's always a concern too. What if like Boston Scott or Jonathan Williams, like we just talked about, comes in and does well? Like they just do okay. Like they're not going to blow the roof off, but what if they just do well? Is he just going to slam Mark Ingram right back in there and be like, "Welcome back, buddy"?
Well, I think there's a chance he doesn't play till week 7.
Right. Right.
I mean, yeah, week
like
5,
if they start rolling and they're 5-0 and they go into their bye week 6, and then they come back week 7, it's like
even if they're not rolling, the guy missed the first 4 weeks, and just because he comes in the week before the bye, I just don't see them.
That could definitely
him into the game plan that big.
That could definitely hurt his redraft position for sure.
It did for me because I think I was the lowest on him. I had him at 34.
You don't think you know damn well you were low?
Do you have ADP on Ingram, James, right now, or no?
On Mark Ingram, I do. He is going in the 5th round, number 501.
See, to me that's kind of high. He's somebody I would hope to get back later.
The 24th running back off the board, though.
Okay, so see, but you're talking about redraft. If this is somebody that you built your team that you can kind of stash him and wait until the second half of the season, then I love it. But if you're taking him in the 5th round, there's probably not a really good chance you can do that unless you're having a pop with something.
Yeah, but he's your third running back.
Yeah, but you can't sacrifice the rest of your team
just
because he's your third running back.
It would be a risky pick for sure.
Yeah, it's a risky pick, but it's something that could pay off if he does come back the second half of that season and ends up having a good season. This is somebody that I think all of us would have in our top 12-ish. Top 12, 13, if he wasn't suspended for 4
Top 15
games.
for sure. Top 15 for sure.
But on that point, like, what is he really going to be able to do? Come back and have a quote unquote good season when you got Kamara, who's gonna get a little bit more this year, I believe, as far as opportunity or involvement than he did last year. And plus, we know Sean Payton has a big doghouse. It's like a mansion.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of rooms in it, and I'm sure he's got one made up especially for Mark Ingram when he comes back. So I see this one is, like you were saying, risky to me, very risky. I don't know if I would want to, as a league winner, I don't know if I want to take at the right spot, of course, I'll take anybody.
It depends on value.
You know what? It's a good point because it's like a huge risk. It's like it's risk versus like what actually reward. And right now the reward, like you just said, like if he finishes in the top 20, like it's not that big of a reward. That like for the risk that you're taking of where he's going, the payoff isn't as big as it should be for a guy that's getting. You know what I mean? You're not drafting like Josh Gordon last season, like in the 8th round or 9th round, and then with the potential of him could potentially be a top 10 wide receiver. That is that's a risk, but with a huge potential for reward. This is not that.
To me, it's kind of like not the same talent level, but like Elliott. Like he missed a lot of time, but he came back and he was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Ingram's not coming back and being the guy.
He's gonna get 50-50 touch. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean,
no, you're right.
You're convincing me. I could definitely drop Mark Ingram down a few spots, but I still think he finished in the top 24.
34, baby.
Well, when you told me he was being drafted the 501, I don't like that value whatsoever.
No.
I was hoping he would be a little bit later, like maybe 7th round.
Me too, but this is also consensus from just July drafts, and I think this should be. No, this is June. I'm sorry, this is June.
So it should maybe it'll be different. Maybe he'll drop a little bit more. If you can get to him like in the 7th or 8th round, then I love the value. 5th round is way too early for me.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next guy so we can finish these up here. Alex Collins. There's a 3-way tie basically for this last spot here. Alex Collins comes in at number 22 for us on the consensus. He finishes an RB2 last year. They didn't bring in anybody new. They get Kenneth Dixon back off of injuries and suspension. And they still have Buck Allen there.
Yeah, I don't love Alex Collins just because of the situation that he's in. He just kind of fell there. He's number 24 on my rankings, barely made it to RB2, but I could easily see him as a RB3, easily.
Yeah, I had him at 19. I think he's going to get some work this season. I think he's going to have the chance to take that job. So I think he'll get plenty of work. I think he's a good RB2. I think.
To me, not bringing in a running back in Baltimore, like during the draft or even in camp,
they brought in just a ton of wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they knew they had an issue with wide receivers, so they just brought in a ton of wide receivers and tight ends. But the running back they didn't really address at all. So it can mean two things to me: either they really like Collins a lot and they're going to keep him in the spot, or they are still holding out hope that Kenneth Dixon is going to come in and take the whole backfield by storm, which is what they predicted 2 years ago.
I keep seeing that on Twitter too. Everyone's
that's what I'm saying.
No,
I think that's a Ravens feel for it though. So that's one of two things for me. Either they're really high on Dixon still, or they are really trusting on Alex Collins
This
to
is
not bring somebody.
definitely an RBBC.
Yeah.
Running back by committee, but I think he's the lead dog in that pack. So I think he'll be productive for you.
Okay. How about Mr. Reliable there, number 23?
Also tied there with Collins is Lamar Miller. Consistently finishes an RB2, even though he's not a sexy pick and no one really likes saying his name on draft day.
Yeah.
You won't hear any grumblings or anybody saying, great pick, man. It's just not a sexy pick, but the guy consistently finishes an RB2, and I'm not 100% sure that Foreman is going to be ready for week 1. I think that he's going to be somebody that might look to put on the PUP list, which means he could possibly miss the first 6 games of the season.
Foreman scares me, man. That Achilles injury scares me. On draft night, I will say, hey, great pick, man. Whoever drafts Lamar Miller.
Well,
I think it'll be a savvy pick.
If it's you, I'm not going to say
if
it.
you take him like top 12, yeah, that's not. Can
you imagine Travis like, I'll take Lamar Miller. Great pick, man. Like he just says it to himself.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I mean, he's very consistent
I'm
to
about
me.
To make a great pick.
He's in the top 24 every single season, so I love him as a guy that you can take with confidence. He's like the Frank Gore type. He just does it every season, and he's right there where he should be every single year, and you can rely on him. So
he can catch a little too. So yeah, he's definitely and he's in a good offense.
Who likes this last guy? Anybody?
This is a guy that I think I was maybe the highest on.
I can see his heart pounding.
I had him at number 19. Consensus, he comes in number 24. Derrick Henry. That would give us 2 Titans in the top 24, which actually says a lot.
Yeah, that is a little weird. Mariota.
It's not exotic smash mouth.
See, but that's the thing. Is like I don't like the receiving core in Tennessee, but I love the running back. I love Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis. I think they're going to be great, tandem there, and I think that they run it kind of how the Saints run it, where it's just they ride the hot hand, and you can throw to both of them. Derrick Henry can easily be the goal line guy, and he's gigantic, and then you bring in Deion Lewis, who's a smaller back that can catch. I can't wait to see how they use the both guys, though. It could literally be a 70-30 split. It could be 50-50 like New Orleans is. It could. I don't know. I'm anxious to see this new offense for Tennessee and how they start the season.
Before we finish up, because that's obviously our consensus top 24, why don't we all pick one guy off our list that we think could crack the top 24 that we don't have in this top 24?
Okay.
I'll go first since I just sprung this on you guys. I'm going to go with Sony Michel. Okay. I see Sony Michel as somebody that I have personally ranked as number 22, which is a back-end RB2. I think that he's somebody that can easily finish in the top 24. I don't put him in the RB1 status, but RB2 for sure.
Want to go second?
No, go ahead.
For me, it's Duke Johnson. I got talked out of lowering, or I got talked into lowering Duke Johnson from, I had him in the top 20, I think 19 or 20. I don't know. I know that he's going to take a hit, and I don't love him. Let's get this straight. I don't even like him. But he finished number 12 last year, and I know you added Nick Chubb. I know you added Carlos Hyde. But for me, number 12, he finished last season, and I have him dropping, but I don't think he's going to drop out of the top 24. So, wait, do we see somebody's going to get in the top 24 or top 12?
No, top 24.
Okay, yes. Duke Johnson is my pick then for the top 24. Just because of receiving ability, I'm in.
So, I could have went easy and had a guy that I already had in my top 24, like the 2 gentlemen sitting next to me, but I'm going to go outside of the guy. I got Royce Freeman in my top 24. I got Sony Michel as well in my top 24. I'm going to go outside of that to a guy I had about 28, Kerryon Johnson. I think he could crack the top 24. That'd be a guy that I could see could slide in there.
I want to be with you on that. I really do, because I'm a Detroit Lions fan, obviously, and I want to see him do well. But
you're just jaded.
I am. I don't believe in things working out when it comes to the Lions. It always seems to be a disappointment, or something happens and you get let down at the end of the season. You're like, God, why are they not doing this? Like, why are they not doing that? How come they're doing this, or why did they draft this guy? It's almost like being an outsider and looking in and being like, what are you guys? What
about Travis loving rookies? You don't want to talk about that at all? He already has 5 in his top 24, and now he just added a 6th guy as a possibility.
You had 4 up there. You tell me you don't see some other
4 and 6 is different though.
I mean, I have 1, 2, I have 3.
You don't see any other rookie being able to crack the top 24?
No, I'm saying they could. I'm just saying that you seem to love rookies. You have 5 in your top 24.
Rookie. Speaking of rookies, no one thinks that
Rookie heaven.
Ronald Jones will make top.
City.
Ronald Jones top 24.
Travis probably does.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Well, give me an obscure rookie. Who's gonna make Raheem
Akram,
Hines?
Akram Wadley.
Raheem Hines.
No, not Akram Wadley.
Ito Smith.
Yeah, I don't know. No one.
Justin.
What about Jordan Wilkins?
I keep wanting to see. Yeah, Jordan Wilkins. That's what I was thinking.
Justin Jackson.
I was thinking of Justin Watson.
No, Jordan Wilkins. If he wins that
Wide
job
receiver.
for Marlon Mack,
You guys done babbling over there?
Yeah, man, I'm ready
Yeah.
to crack one.
Let's crack it.
Straighten my mind out.
Let's crack it. Crack.